There are stories in history that whisper, and then there are stories that roar. Stories of kings, of warriors, of empires built on blood and ambition. But every once in a while, a story rises, quiet at first, until it changes everything. This is not the story of a conqueror, not the story of a king. This is the story of a woman, a leader, a judge, a voice in a time when silence was expected. This is the story of Deborah. Israel was not at peace. There was no unity, no sense of direction. The people had lost their way, again. They turned from what was right. They forgot what mattered. And like a cycle that refused to break, chaos followed. Oppression came swiftly. For 20 long years, they lived under the crushing power of a ruthless king. Fear became normal. Hope became distant. Villages emptied. Roads became dangerous. People stopped traveling, stopped trusting, stopped believing. And in the middle of all this darkness, there was Deborah. Deborah wasn't hidden. She didn't sit in silence. She didn't wait for permission. She sat beneath a palm tree, a simple place, yet it became something more. People came to her, not because she demanded it, but because they trusted her. She listened. She judged fairly. She spoke with wisdom that cut through confusion like light through fog. In a time when leadership was broken, Deborah stood firm, not as a ruler by force, but as a guide by truth. She wasn't just wise, she was fearless. And soon, that fearlessness would be tested. One day, Deborah sent for a man named Barak, a warrior, a capable leader, but like many others, he carried doubt. When he stood before her, the air felt different, expectant. Deborah didn't hesitate. She delivered a message, clear, direct, undeniable. A call to rise, a call to fight, a call to take back what had been lost. Barak listened, but something held him back. Fear? Uncertainty? Maybe both. And then he said something unexpected. I will go, but only if you go with me. It wasn't confidence speaking, it was dependence. And Deborah didn't refuse. But she made one thing clear. The victory would not belong to him. The honor would go to a woman. The moment had come. Troops gathered. Tension filled the air. This wasn't just another battle. This was a turning point. Across the battlefield stood a powerful enemy army, strong, experienced, and feared. Their commander was relentless. Their advantage was overwhelming. Everything pointed to defeat, except something was different. Deborah stood firm, unshaken, and when the moment came, she spoke. Go. Just one word, but it carried strength, certainty, and something deeper. Faith. And as Barak moved forward, something incredible happened. The tide turned. What seemed impossible began to unfold. The enemy's strength crumbled, their confidence shattered, their power broken. This was more than strategy. This was something greater. But the story doesn't end on the battlefield, because one man escaped. The enemy commander, running, desperate, searching for safety. He found refuge in a place he least expected. A tent, a quiet place, a place that seemed harmless. Inside was a woman named Jael. Gave him rest. Gave him comfort. He thought he was safe, but he wasn't. Because sometimes the most unexpected people become the turning point of history. What happened next was swift, final, and unforgettable. The threat was gone. The battle truly over. And just as Deborah had said, the victory belonged to a woman. After the dust settled, after the fear faded, there was something new. Peace. But more than that, there was a story worth telling. And Deborah didn't just live it, she sang it. A song of victory, of courage, of rising when everything says stay down. It wasn't just about war. It was about faith, leadership, and the power of stepping forward when no one else will. Deborah's story didn't begin with power. It began with presence, with courage, with a willingness to stand when others sat. She didn't wait for the world to change. She changed it. And maybe that's why her story still matters. Because even today, in moments of doubt, fear, and uncertainty, there's a question that echoes through time. Will you stay silent, or will you rise?